Hi guys again. This time I'm going to try to explain you how to name acids and bases. We are going to start by saying what is an acid. An acid in short words is going to be a compound in which one or more hydrogen ions are bonded to a negative ion. And remember that an acid is going to be the presence of hydrogen ions H plus and bases are going to have the presence of hydroxide ions OH minus. So what do we are going to need? We are going to need the lists that I upload also in chapter 8 that we use for to start naming some ionic bonds and for our nomenclature. So we are going to use those lists, monatomic ions and polyatomic ions, to name our bases and acids. Why? Because the name of an acid is based on the name of the negative ion that is part of that acid. So we need to be able to identify in a chemical formula who is my negative part and who is playing as the positive part. We already know if we have here, for example, in the first, I took those examples from your worksheet that I upload as a homework. So you are going to have the first part is writing the name for this chemical formula, and the second part is writing the chemical formula for a specific name. We are going to have three rules to name acids and bases. So which are going to be those rules? I also already upload this information in your block of notas. So if we have a negative ion that ends with IDE, I'm going to replace it by using hydro, the name of the element, changing the ending to ic, acid. Example, if I have chloride, chloride is an ion, is the negative charge for chlorine. So chloride, I change the IDE and it will be called hydrochloric acid. The next rule is if I have an ending of 8, I will replace it using the ending ic, acid. For example, nitrate, it ends with ATE. I replace the 8 using ic, nitric acid. And the last one is when we have the ending ITE, we are going to replace it with the ending OUS, OS acid. For example, nitrite, nitrous acid. I replace the ITE using OUS. Here are some sentences that may help you to memorize these rules. I know that hydraulics is not the correct way to write it down, but it kind of makes easier to memorize these rules. So the first one says, my ride has hydraulics. Ride, it ends with IDE. I need to remember that I need to replace it using the prefix hydroc and the end ic. Then, my second sentence says, I ate something icky. Ate, it ends with ATE and I replace it with the ending ic. And the last sentence is Sprite is delicious. It ends with ITE and I replace it with OUS. I hope these sentences can help you naming or memorizing these rules for your homework. So we have the first exercise and says H2SO4. Okay, so I'm going to break it apart and I'm going to say that I have hydrogen. How many hydrogen? 2. 2 hydrogen and I also have my negative part that is SO4. I already know that this is a polyatomic ion that it's called sulfate. If you don't memorize or if you don't remember that, you can go to your list and find out sulfate. Sulfate is SO4 2 minus. That means it has a 2 minus charge. So because it's a polyatomic ion, called sulfate, I need to replace the 8 using ic. So it's going to be called sulfuric acid. That's going to be the name for that chemical formula. And why do you think hydrogen has a subscript 2? Very good. Because sulfate has a 2- charge. That means that I need to cross the charges, and hydrogen will have a subscript 2, and sulfate doesn't have any subscript because hydrogen is 1+. The next exercise, it says H2SO3. I already know that this is going to have a charge of 1+, and sulfite, I know that this is my polyatomic ion sulfite. And how do I know? Because it has one less oxygen. This one was SO4, this is SO3, so my ending should be ITE, sulfite. That means it's also going to have a 2- charge. That's the reason my formula has a subscript 2 for hydrogen. So sulfite, I'm going to replace the ending ITE by O's. Sulfurous acid. My acid is going to be my hydrogen ion. Now, H2S. I know here I only have one element. This is sulfide. It's going to be a 2- charge, and hydrogen is going to be 1+. So sulfide, it ends with the ending IDE. That means I need to write the prefix hydrosulfuric acid. Remember that for monoatomic ions, the ending IDE needs to have a prefix hydro and the ending ic. And the last one, I know that this is hydrogen, my positive part, and this is carbonate, my polyatomic ion called carbonate. How, if I can't remember the charge, I go and I search carbonate, CO3. It has a 2- charge. So I write a 2- charge. And I can tell because hydrogen has a subscript 2. So I bring them down and they are balanced. Remember that the charges, they need to be neutral. So if this was carbonate, that means it has an ending of 8. I need to replace it using ic. Carbonic acid. Piece of cake. Now, let's go to the next part. This time you have the name. You need to write the formula, the chemical formula. So, if this is acetic acid, this ending is letting me know that at the beginning, it was an 8. Ic 8. So, acetic acid was acetate. And I go and I search for acetate. And acetate is here. It's going to be CH3, COO. All of this, it's my polyatomic ion called acetate. And it has a charge of 1-. Here also, I need to let you know that this is an exception. Instead of having hydrogen at the beginning, here is going to be hydrogen at the end. So this is acetic acid. They are balanced, the charges are balanced, so I need to erase them, and I don't need any subscript. So my final answer is going to be CH3COOH. This is going to be my chemical formula. Perchloric acid, again, it ends with ic. That means it was perchlorate. I search for perchlorate, and perchlorate is ClO4-. ClO4-. Acid. Acid is going to be my hydrogen part. So I have my positive part and my negative part. They are balanced, so I don't need to bring down the subscript. My final answer should be HClO4. Carbonic acid, it was carbonate. So I know that an acid, it's my hydrogen part. So carbonate, I go and I search for it, and it's going to be CO3 2 minus. So I write down CO3 2 minus. I can tell that the charges are not balanced. That's the reason I need to bring down as a subscript, because I need 2 hydrogens for my chemical formula to be balanced, and my charges always need to be equal 0. I don't need substrate for carbonate, so my formula is H2CO3. And last but not least, for phosphorus acid. Phosphorus acid means that it was phosphite. Why? Because it ends with OUS, and OUS was ite. Phosphite. Phosphite acid. So my acid part is going to be my hydrogen, and phosphite is PO3 3 minus. Now I can tell again that the charges are not balanced. That's the reason I need a subscript 3 for hydrogen. I erase the charges, and now you have your chemical formula for phosphorus acid, H3PO3. I hope this video helps you guys, and I hope those sentences help too. Have a nice day, guys. I miss you, and I send my hugs, and be safe. Bye.